Hello, yet again. It is May 30th and day 30th of our marathon for membership. I feel like a poet. Today we are here with Belin Hawkins and Mike Young, both founding members of the Sage Circle Alliance. And if you've been watching over these 30 days, you have seen both of them more than once. Belin is our one of our marketing geniuses. She is CEO of Vegan Visibility Productions, and she does digital marketing as well as all kinds of other stuff, like a list of accomplishments and credits, way too long to list today. And then we also have Mike Young, who, I think of Mike as a little bit tighter in his focus. He is in real estate and farming and travel. I don't know, maybe that's not really any tighter. That's probably a little bit broader. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But so good to be with both of you here today. Today, our subject is the whole food, plant-based, healthy vegan movement. And how do we go from grappling with chronic disease that is facilitated by our unhealthy food systems to a lifestyle that offers a transformative solution? And I'm going to start with this because, we've been having these conversations years actually, but certainly a lot in the last 30 days. So I'm just going to jump in with something. I was watching a video this morning that was of a symposium created by the World Bank. And they were actually looking at and talking about, they had a little panel about it and everything, about the impact of our food system on the world. Now, the World Bank is not trying to get people to stop eating meat. This is the truth. They are not trying to do that. In fact, they were quite clear that you don't have to stop eating meat to help the planet. You could give cows pills, is what they were saying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd love to know more about that, but that's for another conversation. But in this room here right now, and we are expecting one more guest here shortly, and we'll let her in when she comes. In the room right now, what do either one of you, both of you, think about the impact our food system has on planetary degradation and let's look at animal welfare just for a minute. Either of you want to start?
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just wanted to mention, first of all, this is our organization, which is part of the Sage Circle Alliance, a plant-based diet.org. And a lot of people think that we're plant-based. Well, that doesn't mean vegan. I just wanted to clarify something right away, that we are a 100% vegan organization. This is our 501c3. It says that right on our website. So this is important to us. And we really, I know, just like you had mentioned, Meryl, the World Bank doesn't necessarily think that you have to completely give up animal products, I guess, to do better, right? Because you could do better without fully giving them up, but to do best, there's no place in best. And, so animals obviously we know them, many of us know them as pets or just little critters around outdoors in the yard or wherever we see them. And I don't think anyone wants to hurt them. So if you don't need animal products to do best and you don't want to hurt them, why don't we just utilize another method? That's kind of how we look at it.
I totally agree with you, Mike. And, you talk about another method, the solution has always been there. It's been there from the beginning. What serves the human frame is plants. And, what serves a lot of animal frames is plants. Yet somebody figured out that there was a way to make money from the consumption of animal products. And they convinced others to get on that bandwagon. and it has grown into a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has crossed industries. And even in doing that, it has taken its time to impact our lives,
Mhm.
to where we're seeing deforestation, we're seeing the impact of emissions, gas emissions, we're seeing the impact of global warming, we're seeing the impact of it on human health. And what we don't see, what most people don't see, is that progression that I just talked about.
Mhm.
Past generations, what the food consumed, even if there was a little bit of meat for a special occasion or something like that, it was not the way that we consume meat today.
Mhm.
And the way that they're growing meat to continue that upward movement of consumption is going to continue to impact our health. And I like Dr. Furman's book, what is it?
Eat to live.
The genocide,
Oh,
Genocide.
fast
fast
food,
food
fast
genocide.
genocide.
Mhm.
And it's not just fast food, but it is certainly the food that you can go to the grocery store and pick up and throw on the grill and, let it do its thing, turn it over. And, whether it's fully cooked or partially cooked, you're eating it, and it is not plants.
Mhm.
And it's taking its toll on us. It's creating human issues that were not seen before, except on, special things. Somebody going blind because they've been eating meat was not something you saw from decades ago or
Yeah.
centuries ago.
Yeah.
People having gallbladder and, other kinds of internal issues that we see today was not happening centuries ago. And you have to ask yourself the question, why?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, if humans are humans, why wasn't this happening centuries ago or even decades ago? 60 years ago, things were really different than they are today. I keep
Right.
thinking of the pictures of
Well,
the
this,
beach, Coney Island.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, something along that point right there that you mentioned, I want to clarify, is that a lot of people, well, not a lot, some people will use what you just said, and then they'll say, well, that's why I don't eat farm raised or like these industrial farm raised animal products. I use free range or whatnot, and of course, I know that that's not. It may be a little better for some aspects of it, but it doesn't eliminate the problem, not even close, right?
Right,
Yeah, because
right.
one thing too, that if there's folks out there listening or watching right now that don't understand the relationship between animal products and poor health, I can summarize it very quickly. I've had a lot of people that have approached me recently, and here's what I would say. Number one, the protein issue is a thing. I say, well, Dr. T. Colin Campbell says that animal protein causes cancer in humans. Read his book. What is it?
The China study.
And
Dinosaur.
study or
Exactly.
whole.
If you
Mhm.
want the evidence, it's in there. So you wouldn't want to eat a carcinogen, meaning any animal protein. Then, of course, animal protein doesn't have any fiber in it. I think everyone agrees that in order to optimize your gut microbiome, you must have an adequate intake of fiber every day. That's how you optimize that gut microbiome. And according to Harvard University, 95% of people do not get enough fiber every single day. So another reason not to eat animal products, because that's the only thing that has zero fiber. The plants is the source of the fiber. The plants are also not the middle person, right? The actual animal is the middle person in this whole transaction, which we always want to cut out the middle person, right? Because we know that's inefficient, and that's what
Mhm.
causes environmental problems, because that middle person is there because all your protein is from plants. The animals just process it and then give it to you. And then, like you said, people going blind. All animal products are extremely high in fat, and that too high of a percentage of calories from fat will cause metabolic diseases. Blindness, right? The leading cause of type 2 diabetes is the leading cause of blindness. That's a metabolic disease. And all these things are modifiable. And then the final thing I tell people is, according to the World Health Organization, 7 out of 10 top causes of death for humans are non-communicable diseases. What
Yep.
are non-communicable diseases? They are things that you cannot catch from anyone. So what causes it? Lifestyle causes it. So they are most likely modifiable, preventable, haltable, and reversible. So if you put all this together, no one wants to be sick. Why don't we just eliminate these non-communicable diseases from humanity? Because we can do that. That's a reasonable goal. And how do you do it? You stop using animal products.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very well said. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's look a little bit again, just at what, so let me start this way. The Sage Circle Alliance is, we're a lot of people who are medically oriented or health oriented, right? And there are certainly those, at least two other avenues a person could come at this lifestyle from. It could be for animal compassion primarily, or it could be planetary regeneration. That's the other one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
usually health, animal, or planet that we're
Mm-hmm.
concerned about when we come to a lifestyle of not eating animal products. If anybody pays, is in it for any length of time from any one of those angles, we usually come full circle and we incorporate all three, right?
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For all reasons.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I would like to look at just a little bit more is the animal compassion end, because that is so closely tied to our environment. It's all tied together, but the animal compassion side and the willingness to warehouse animals and, pack them into high density, concentrated animal feeding operations, things like that, willing to clear cut forests to make room for those CAFOs, willingness to clear cut forests to grow food to feed animals in those settings. That's something that I don't think a lot of people focus on. Either of you have anything you can say or add about that?
I think that from my perspective, because I remember I used to travel from the Baltimore, D.C. area to Atlanta quite a lot back in the day. And I remember I-95 until you get to the point where you cut off on 85, you actually came across these patches of the stretch of mileage where it was like, oh my God, who died?
Mm,
Right? And you really didn't make a connection as to what that was. And understanding today that that was an animal farm close enough to the highway that those odors translated miles, and they do, to and the traffic going up and down the highway, you would think that the air would move sufficiently enough that those smells would rise versus being so intense. You got the windows up and the air conditioning on. Of course, you're pulling in air, but you're wondering what the heck died. But then you get to the next stretch and you don't smell it anymore, and the thought is gone. But if people were to realize that not only does that air and smell impact that stretch of highway, there are people that live there.
mm,
There are people that live in miles radius there that are impacted by what goes on these animal farms. And, it's one thing that's bad for the animals. I mean, horrible for the animals because they're diseased. You might be standing next to somebody who's dead,
mm,
and think about the people who have homes
Yeah.
raising children in
That,
those areas.
that's something we try to convey a lot. We want people to have fun. Is anybody having fun who lives nearby that? I don't think so. Not the way you describe it, and I believe you. I've seen this as well. Another point that you bring up, VLAN, is the animals being sick. I ask people who consume animal products, I say, question for you. Is there any way that you can guarantee or know that the animal product that you're eating right now wasn't sourced from a sick animal?
Mm.
There's
Or
no
dead,
way to know. Right?
or a dead one that died before they killed it.
Yeah,
You
there's no
know,
way to know this. So who in their right mind would start off eating food like that when they can never even know that?
right. And it really is about what you don't know. I think that we all can hang our hats on, being at a point in time in life when we just didn't know. And I think it's so key that as adults, we want to say, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. And that's our choice to make. However, we can't go through life blind like that. And we can't do that to our children.
Mhm.
I really feel very compassionate about the fact that we have pets. Most of us had pets because we either have children or we had pets as children, and we want pets as adults. And I shudder to think that I would eat my little guy, because I want to throw some meat on the grill or, just meat on my plate. No, no.
Well, when you think about it, who would do that? I think the humans that would do that are in survival mode, right? It's either they have to do that or they might die themselves. So, like the diet that people are eating with animal products is a survival diet based on a time of scarcity that we don't live in anymore, right? We have extreme abundance now, so we should be eating a thriving diet, not a surviving diet.
Mm.
And
So I'm just looking up, sorry to interrupt. I'm just looking up that's why I'm looking down. I'm Googling things.
All right.
And I'm looking up, this was from February of last year, where over 100 kids were illegally employed in meat packing jobs in my home state of Wisconsin,
Oh,
where they were employed, oh my goodness, in hazardous jobs, cleaning equipment like skull splitters,
ooh,
brisket saws, and bone cutters in meat packing plants in 8 states over the course of 3 years is what they're looking at. These kids were 13, as young as 13 years old. And they know, we talk about the impact of our food system on the planet.
mhm.
For sure, there's that. And then you were talking about the impact of who wants to live near that or who wants to work near that, right? Well, we're hiring children fairly young, to work in inhumane settings, literally inhumane settings. So where they're killing animals. And we know that children have very often like a super deep, very easy connection with animals, right? Children are more like that.
Yeah.
So just the idea that we are, one of the effects of our food system is to, can we say we're abusing our children with our food system?
I think that is a fair statement.
Yikes.
Yeah, yeah.
What a crazy thought.
Well, I think that we can all agree. I think that no one really wants to do those jobs. Is that right? I mean,
Most of us don't.
right? Yeah, I don't think anyone really wants to do those. So I'm guessing they're finding anyone that would be willing at this point in time, since really,
They also use prison labor to do those jobs. Yeah, it's so inhumane and so unkind. And they say too that because of the constant exposure to like the cries of pain that from the animals and the killing of them and all that, that it is psychologically cruel for humans to be in that setting. I mean, it's cruel for the animals and cruel for the humans. Now, we just had Beth Garver show up. She's there. Beth, are you ready to come on screen? Give me a wave or a nod if you can hear me. She's not. Oh, she waved. Okay, we're going to bring you on. Hey, Beth, how are you?
Hi. So I need to tell you that about 20 minutes ago, our Wi-Fi went out. So I have my phone set up the best that I possibly can
Okay.
with cellular, but it probably won't be great.
Okay. Well, you look fabulous.
They
We
look
love your
good.
background.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my house. So, yeah, the whole neighborhood's out. So I was
Right.
using
Well, welcome
profanities.
to the conversation.
Well,
Yeah, it's
thank you
all
for
good.
having me.
It's all good. It's all
How is
good.
everybody?
We are doing well. We're talking about, we're diving a little bit more deeply today on day 30 now into the animal compassion end of things. So often we don't look at that side when we're talking about whole food plant-based eating and the effects of, the benefits of. So we're just taking a little time to look at the animal compassion and what our food system does and does not provide for animal compassion. So
Yeah, well, Meryl, you were mentioning about what these children see in these slaughterhouse jobs, which it sounds like that's what they were, slaughterhouse jobs. I think it's important to not only be considerate of what you're feeding, the food you're putting into your mouth, but also the food that you're giving to your eyes and ears.
yes,
Yes, very good point.
yeah, yeah. So in Buddhist philosophy, there are nutriments that the Buddhist practitioner looks at, or and what you see, hear, smell,
Yeah.
taste, touch, all of that is considered how you're feeding your life, how you're feeding yourself.
Your
And
soul.
yeah, and to be exposed to constant pain and torture, slaughter, and all that, that cannot be good. That cannot be good, especially a
So
13-year-old child.
So, it's interesting because the animals experience stress before they go to slaughter. And that stress um, is translated into hormones, stress hormones that you're eating. And that's toxic. I've studied this.
Yes.
And, like many of you, I'm animal rights. I'm an animal rights activist. I've been out in the field. Um, and it's bad and people don't understand it, and it's that cognitive dissonance. And I think
Mm.
for children, young children, I don't know how many of you have kids, but I know, well, of course mine were vegetarian from birth, now vegan. um, they didn't want to eat meat, and we force them. We tell them, oh, you have to have your protein. Most kids don't want that, right? They don't
That
want to.
was me. That just so you know, I was not raised by vegetarians or vegans, but my parents could tell you from as young as I can remember, I used to refuse to eat meat that was put on my table because I looked at it and they were more of a cooking rare type of power.
Mm.
So I would see the blood, I would see the
Mm.
muscle, I would see the veins, I would see the skin, I would see the hair. Well, actually, usually you got the hair, but I could see what it was, right? And then I could
Yeah.
see, well, the rest of my food didn't look like that. I'll just eat the other stuff. Why would I choose to eat something like that? They used to keep me there for sometimes hours because they thought I was going to, harm my health because I wasn't consuming this animal meat that was on the plate.
So it's interesting because children are taught very young that animals are their friends. And so the question comes up. In fact, my daughter asked, well, why would I eat my friend? And I said, well, you wouldn't.
Right.
Mhm.
Right? If we're supposed to love animals, why would we eat them?
Absolutely.
So Beth, tell us a little bit about your background, since you said that you've been an animal rights activist for some time. Tell us something about yourself. Give us a flavor of where you've been and how you got into that.
Okay, well, I've been vegetarian almost forever, right? Since I was I grew up, I went to school in Mexico and I came back a lot heavier. And so I started reading all these books by the Diamonds and the Pritikins, and went vegetarian, but not vegan. And about 15 years ago, I went vegan. And about 5 years ago, I went whole food plant based. When I went vegan, it solved a lot of my issues. I was having some issues from I was exposed to toxic mold. And so I was having lung issues. I was a distance runner and I wasn't able to run.
Mm.
When I went vegan, I was able to run and I stopped getting sick. When I went whole food plant-based, I mean, everything got better, right? So whole food plant-based, as I think you all know, and maybe everybody out there, it's vegan, but on steroids. It's basically not eating processed food. It's eating food, that's whole. That doesn't mean you can't add condiments to it, but eating food in its natural state, more natural state.
Well, Beth, I don't know if you know about our certification right over here, this healthy vegan food.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, we realized also, I have WFPB on my license plate, okay? But we recognized that there wasn't a universal definition for that. So we defined our own. We call it healthy vegan food. And we say it has 6 components: no animal products, no alcohol, has to have plant fiber in the prepared food, no added oil, no added salt, no refined sugar.
Yeah, the fiber is key. I mean, it really is key, and it's key for all the chronic diseases as well, which is, I mean, being in lifestyle medicine, that's something that's important to me. So that's great. I don't, because my phone is, I'm looking in my phone. I don't really see the background very well.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more. So you started out for being vegetarian forever, and then you went vegan, and then you went whole food plant-based. At what point, or were you always an animal rights activist? At what point did that start?
So I became animal rights when I was vegetarian, leaning towards vegan, so about 15 years ago. And because I would go into the grocery store and I would ask, well, if I buy cheese, can you tell me how the animal is raised? Can you tell me, if they're treated well? I'd ask all these questions because I was learning, right? And I didn't realize that, even dairy products are harmful to the animals. I just figured, animals died. They gave you what they needed and died. So that's when I went, well, obviously, was leaning towards vegan and animal rights, and founded a couple of organizations. I founded RAR. I'm from Rochester, New York. And by the way, Mike, you'll appreciate this. My license plate is Rock Vegan.
Okay, very good.
So anyway, that's when I really got into animal rights. I started to learn about it and founded a couple of organizations up in Rochester, New York, and did some, protesting. Nothing major. I'm not somebody. I'm not going to get in anybody's face, right? I think everybody has a right to speak, and it's a right to free speech. But I would just, when people would ask, well, why are you doing this? I would tell them, and have converted, many a non-vegan to vegan, right? A lot of people think about it when you answer their questions. And again, not in people's faces, just, well, let me explain to you. And
as the opportunity presents itself.
Correct. Right. So does that answer your question, Meryl?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, pretty much. I probably could go on with a few more questions, but yeah, that's good. That's good. So I guess next question might be, for people who are venturing into whole food, plant-based, healthy, vegan eating, more from either let's say more from the human health end. What is it that you think, like, if you had a chance to tell them anything about animal rights and compassion, what is like a key message you would like to convey?
Well, it's very interesting because I think a lot of people. So I've been in the lifestyle medicine field, okay, which encompasses whole food, plant-based, and 5 other pillars. I've been in the field for 5 years, and I've been consulting in the field. And generally, when people start with their health and stick with it, then and this isn't answering your question, but it's,
Go ahead.
they learn about the other aspects. And one of the other aspects that they learn about, because they're curious and they're reading, and as they see, recipes and information, they learn about the animals and become compassionate. I've met so many people who have then become compassionate. So what I would say is keep an open mind. You certainly, start with your health, but then, think about other reasons to live this way, right? How else is it impacting the earth? Because it really is, right? The fewer animals we eat, the less runoff we have, right? I mean, we could, greenhouse gases, we can go into all of that.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
that's
I tell people that for humans, generally there are sanitary practices for our waste, right? I don't think there's so much of that for animals and animal farms. Most of it just seems to run off on its own, unfortunately.
It does, and unfortunately, it gets into our water systems, right? People don't realize it. Our drinking
Mhm.
water,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Into our agriculture, and it's waste. I mean, it's not good for us. It's toxic, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And especially so, I wish people were more aware, but I guess that's what we're doing, is trying to make people more aware,
Yeah, that's
That's
kind of our
exactly.
right? The
Mhm.
consequences of our actions, right? I mean, we want everything the way we want it. It's all about convenience and and there's so many other things to eat on this earth than animals.
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
well, Meryl and Vlin earlier before you got here, Beth was saying that maybe it was Vlin, I can't remember. One of the two of you said that this agriculture started out as a good business model for somebody.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's the pressure that's keeping it there. There's lots of it's a fairly a positive cash flow for people that are involved in those businesses.
And you can tell how much so, because many of those big food companies have decided, oh, I'm going to jump on the plant-based bandwagon, and they've got their own derived processed plant, what they call plant foods, that they're
Mhm.
now doing and
Yeah.
selling. And people are thinking, oh, that's a good alternative. But what they don't realize is those foods are being packaged in the same places that the animal packaging is being done.
Yeah, and they're products, right? I consider them food-like products. So anything that the body doesn't recognize as actual food is going to breed disease in that body as a warning sign to ask you to please stop doing that.
Mm. So just maybe it was last week or so, I was listening to, I think it was a radio show. I'm to the point now where I have so much information like coming at me all the time. It's a
You're
little
here
hard to
every
keep
day.
straight where I get what anymore. But they were talking about how with gene editing, they are now able to use pig kidneys as kidney transplant for humans,
Hmm.
and how there
Yeah.
are, I don't know, 100,000 or maybe 70,000 people on the wait list for kidney transplants every year. And they only have 17,000 that they can complete because there's just not that many kidneys around. So now they have a fast track method. They can grow pigs
Oh,
to harvest their kidneys, edit the genes, and transplant into humans.
Beth, I have a question. Beth, do you recognize kidney disease as a non-communicable disease? I don't know if she can hear me
Uh,
or not.
yeah, no, I'm back on. My internet's been, as I said, it's
Uh,
um
uh, yeah.
yeah.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, as a non-communicable disease.
Yeah, because like that's what I don't know if you're familiar with, but the World Health Organization classifies diseases as either communicable or non-communicable. And 7 out of the top 10 reasons of death for humans are non-communicable diseases, meaning it's
Yeah,
lifestyle induced.
that's correct. Yes. Yeah, kidney disease is definitely lifestyle induced. Generally starts with diabetes, right? And then it into the kidneys, and it's preventable. So lifestyle medicine, is all about preventing, or, treating, through, diet, obviously whole food, plant-based, exercise, sleep,
Mhm. Mhm.
stress management, social connections, avoiding risky subjects or substances. Um, so yeah, it's all about that. And kidney disease is one of those.
Yeah. So Meryl, it sounds to me like I don't know if it's me reacting to what you're saying, but it sounds to me like that whole solution okay, is been engineered by the animal farming industry as a way to generate even more revenue for them and keep
Exactly.
the cycle going.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a combination of things, right? So you have the animal farming industry that's supplying the raw materials.
Mm-hmm.
You have the pharmaceutical companies that are supplying the treatments or the chemicals and the buffers that they have to put around those raw materials. And then you have the gene editing, which is that's a whole nother thing,
It's also a
And then
scientific
nobody in there is talking about how do we prevent kidney damage,
exactly, or
right?
reverse it,
Right.
You can't, and
You
you
know,
can
that's
reverse.
yeah.
You can. I work with people all the time, and they reverse their diabetes, their heart disease, their high cholesterol, their blood pressure, their obesity.
Right. So
And they,
it just begs. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, and they live healthier lives, and they save money on prescription drugs, right? Because they don't have to spend the money on it. I mean, I work with them. Go ahead.
They
I beg
gain
your pardon?
freedom, right?
Oops.
I didn't hear what you said.
They gain freedom, correct? Your patients?
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
And
really
I love that word. You know, if people were to see themselves as incarcerated by the carcasses that they're consuming, wouldn't they want freedom? And if freedom was plants, I think that we could have a total migration into the plant consumption and really get some fuel for this whole movement that we're in and contributing to and bringing voices to and looking for more voices to bring into, because there are quite a few of us out there. I think the last statistic I read was there's 3 million vegans on the planet and growing. And we all have our journeys. You know, the thing that I believe is missing is, what do we do to lessen the voice or stop the voice that is contributing to the degradation of lives, human and animals, of the planet, and amplify the voices of the other side of creating awareness through education about how to live this sustainable, healthy, long life that is something that we know is possible because we've seen it in our history. How many of us had grandparents that lived to the 80s and 90s and 100 actually? There are some in my family line, but then I look at it, it went like this, and then all of a sudden it took a dip. And I've got people in my family now that have passed at the young age of 51. And from preventable, non-communicable disease, pancreatic cancer, heart disease. My dad died at 29 from a massive heart attack.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And the ripple effect of that through our family, I can only tell you that, I'm just about to turn 70. I've got a sister that's 63 and another one that's 61. And the effect that has had on our family has been, we're 60 years later, 50 years later. And it still has an impact.
Right.
And what we need to do is really more in bringing this education in. And the question becomes, how do we do that? I know one of our things was grassroots. It's how do you start it in the community? And I just love the potlucks. There's nothing close enough to me that I can go to, which says to me, maybe I'm going to be the one to start one day, but I'm not the cook yet.
Yeah, I'm a foodie. I'm an eater.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
eat it.
No, food is a great way. I mean, sharing food, and I've done a lot of that as well. Mike, sharing food is a great way. Culinary medicine, is another way, right? Teaching kitchens, but just sharing with your neighbors good, healthy food that tastes good,
Mm-hmm.
right? And easy to make. And oh yeah, you can make this, really, and it's healthy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and actually, going back to this healthy vegan food that we have here, we do events through our organization, and we do find restaurants that are willing to prepare 100% healthy vegan food menu for us. It's very, very hard to find. So, we have a cruise too, health optimization cruise. We have other events. Everything is at least that at the minimum, and it is possible. And there are people out there now. That's the other thing that amazes me, that we're in a time where people are seeking this out. So
And you're in
opportunities
Fairfax County?
right now, I'm in Northern Virginia, but we do local events in the DC area. We do
Yeah.
local events in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, the
Okay.
Ocala, Gainesville, Villages area of Florida, Southwest Florida, and then our cruises for
Okay.
anybody around the world, and also Ecuador. We work with intentional communities in Ecuador. There are events there as well.
Okay,
Now I
'cause
saw that
I'm
you
in,
had
I'm in
something in
Loudoun.
Savannah.
Yeah, you're Loudon. Okay. Yeah.
I'm in Loudoun
Savannah,
County.
yeah, Loudon. Well, I was just there volunteering at the organic farm, Planetary Farms in Loudoun County. Shout out to Dave Mascatello. He actually is the inspiration in Loudoun County there for our Mountain Ridge Farm, which is happening out in Highland County on a mountain ridge in Virginia now. So, yeah, I mean, all this stuff's exciting to me. And one thing I want to kind of bring it all together with is that we found that the key is simply one thing. It's open-mindedness. It's as simple as that, because as we've discussed, the information all makes sense. Yeah, we're fighting off the old school because the new school, meaning the internet, is here. All right. And the internet, if you take you sift through the information, it becomes clear what's right and what's wrong. So it just requires someone with an open mind, and not everyone is there. We recognize that too. We won't try to convince someone that obviously does not want to be convinced of anything else other than what they believe. But there are many people that are truly open-minded: chefs, restaurants, cruise lines, like we found. Not many, but there are some.
Yeah. I'm going to jump to what you were just saying, Mike, about, I love that you called the internet the new school. I never thought about that like that, but yeah, we get an awful lot of information from, I know I am,
Google and YouTube are my friends.
Oh my gosh, neck deep in it all the time. Like, even when I'm talking to other people, I'm just Googling and looking for things. I think there is, and I don't think there's any argument there. You can find whatever you're looking for on the internet, to the good and to the bad, to the pro, the con, the up, the down, the north, the south, the east. You can find anything you're looking for. And the more that you look, of course, because these are smart devices. They're called that for a reason, right? They will feed you the information that you want to hear and that you want to hear, right? Yep. So if I am somebody who's looking up healthy vegan options all the time, that's what it will show me over and over again. If I'm whatever I'm looking for, it will bring that to me preferentially. Right. So when we talk about, sifting through the information on the internet, and you'll find it if you're looking, not necessarily. It depends where you're looking, how you're looking, how often you're looking. If Facebook is listening to me today, sometimes it feels like it's listening. It shows things that I know I've only talked about and I haven't actually Googled or looked
That
at.
does happen. Yes, I agree.
Very interesting stuff.
So don't say that meat is good or anything like this.
Well, yeah, that's already built into the algorithm. But I think when we're talking like this, and we're recommending people look things up and go for legitimate sources, we kind of have to let people remind ourselves and who's ever listening or watching that you can find anything. You can find anything you're looking for, and whether you're looking for it or not, it'll show up for you, because that's the way these devices are designed. They're designed to reinforce what you already believe.
An echo chamber, right? People call it an echo chamber.
Yeah, it is like an echo chamber. It is. It is. Definitely. Really good. All right. At this moment, we're going to take just a little bit almost of a commercial break. Oh my goodness, we're almost at the top of the hour. Can that be? So this is, once again, our 30th day of our May Marathon for membership for charter members. Today, we're speaking with Belin Hawkins, Mike Young, and Beth Garver, three of our founding members who, all of whom, and I'm Meryl Fury, all of us are just fully dedicated to health, animal compassion, and planetary regeneration and protection. And we're doing that as members of the Sage Circle Alliance, which is a membership organization. And our main tenets are to support health, animal compassion, and the planet. You can go to our website, which is scrolling along the bottom of our screen right now, sagecirclealliance.org, and look into what we have to offer our members. There are, if you go to that homepage right there at sagecirclealliance.org, land on the homepage, and there's probably at least 3 different buttons that say become a member, join now, join and become a member, membership here, whatever it says, right? Click on the button and it will take you to a place where you can find out about the membership. There are several different levels of membership, maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 different levels, I think, maybe even more. And it goes anywhere from student and volunteer, which are basically free memberships, right up to enterprise, which is quite a bit more expensive. And you can find whatever membership fits you, like your old cotton t-shirt, very comfortable. You can put it on, see how it fits. There's different benefits for different levels of membership. And all of it is designed to support the entrepreneur, the thought leader, the change maker who is interested in supporting, like we've been talking about for the last almost 1 hour, animal compassion, human health, and planet protection. That's what we're here for. So,
And it includes
go
medical practitioners, nurses, coaches, health coaches, nutrition coaches.
Yes.
Podcasters,
Podcasters, authors, yes, grant writers and digital marketers and eco-village people from Ecuador. People who want to grow farms. Who's that? I don't know.
lifestyle medicine practitioners,
Yes, MDs, RNs.
farmers.
Yes, all kinds. Anybody who has a heart for human health, animal compassion, animal protection, planetary regeneration, all of that. We are a group of whole food, plant-based, vegan, healthy eating people. I'll put that right out front. And that's the angle that we come from, to make a difference in the world and amplify that message.
And this membership drive is to really reach out, to put the message out there, and to say, if you are in this conversation, come join us. Come be a part of an organization that is primed to really make a difference in the world. I know a lot of people come in and say, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But this marathon membership drive is one of the first ways that you can tell, excuse me, that this is a group of dedicated individuals who are passionate about this message and about doing. We're doers. We're not sitting on the sidelines. We're doers. We're out there affecting change and creating the ripples that are going to wake others up. And we've seen a lot of the people that we've just named who are feeling alone, like they're doing it all themselves. And they're looking for some place to step into, to feel a part of, and that they can make a contribution to, as they're getting contributed back to themselves. Because we're all about the reciprocal law of the universe. And we know that what you give, you get back 100-fold.
Yeah.
Right.
And we know that this mission is something that is at a critical juncture. If we don't do something now, what will our children end up having to be faced with? and what will we stand and take responsibility for? I remember a lot of times saying, if I knew then what I know now, things might be different. Well, that's no longer a valid excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know it now. Let's do something now. If you didn't know it a decade ago, that's okay. We're here now. It's now and tomorrow and every tomorrow that we get, because tomorrow is not promised.
That's right. Yeah.
And our kids need us.
Yeah.
I mean, the next generations with a big S on the end of it, they need us to help to turn things around so they have something valuable that they can get in their lives.
Right. The saying is that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the next best time is right now. So
right
now is the time to plant this tree. I mean, literally and figuratively, to make a difference for everyone, every living being and the planet. Definitely.
Yes, it is. And, when we think about what the world needs now, there's a lot of things, and the song comes to mind, Love, Sweet Love. How do you express that? But you join in with those who are taking action, whether it's, the community garden in your neighborhood, or initiating a vegan potluck at your church. You might be surprised the number of people who say, I'm plant-based or I'm plant-based vegan, and will help that to happen. So we really want our audience to know that while we're looking for those people, we're looking for the people who are already doing things. And if you know them, if it's not you, but you know someone, tell them about the Sage Circle Alliance.
Yeah, definitely invite people in. With that, we are at the top of the hour. We're going to go round the room one time and just, one really quick last question. If you can put it together in one sentence, this is your challenge. You get a one sentence answer. If there was one thing that you could encourage people to do, one action they could take today outside of become a member of the Sage Circle Alliance, we'll leave that off the table for the moment. One thing that you would encourage people to do to make a difference in the world, either for human health, animal compassion, or the planet, what would you choose? Let's start with Mike. One sentence.
Eat more plants.
All right. There.
Oh, that was my thing.
Right. Beth, how about you?
Stop eating meat.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Belin?
Stop eating meat, eat more plants, and be the example that others will see.
Mm-hmm. And I would say teach your children to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Encourage it.
Yeah.
Teach the next generation. And with that, we're going to call this a wrap.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here. We'll be back tomorrow for a 5-hour version of this. So, if you need to go today, we got more tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of this drive.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for making this happen. Really appreciate it.
So grateful you're here, and you are more than welcome. So grateful. All right, you guys, have a great day, and we will see you mañana.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.